Hey, Family Matters with the one and only Kevin Petersen. Jay Staples here, and I forgot to grab a water, but I guess I'll make it through. Kevin, how are you?
I'm doing pretty well. Big shout out to my wife, Amy, yesterday celebrated 18 years.
Wow.
And yeah.
18 years with you or what? I mean,
that would be amazing, right? Sober. 18 years sober, my friend.
I was going to give her a big congratulations, but sobriety is a big deal.
Well, I think without the sobriety, I wouldn't stand a chance. I would be given the heave-ho.
Well, big things happening, miracles happening every day. So
why
don't you join us in recovery? It's a fun trip. So
yeah.
Alrighty, we do this every week. Kevin's over there in Jaywalker. I'm actually on the coast in a little place called Orange Beach, Alabama.
Woo!
And we answer questions. So no matter where we are in this world, we will always answer your questions. So please keep the questions coming. Got some interesting ones. But anyway, Kevin, any burning desires or anything until we get right into it?
Well, you know what we should also include occasionally is movie reviews. My wife and I went and saw the F1 movie.
I saw that too.
What'd you think?
I actually enjoyed the movie. The F1 movie I enjoyed. Here is something, and people laugh, and it was like traumatic for me. So I didn't know what I was getting into, but I went to a movie theater where the seats actually move.
Yeah.
And if they're trying to put you in the pit or whatever of an F1, and I could have done without the jerking, they blow air, I didn't know movie theaters did this, and so I could have. So I was getting really upset with the seats just jerking back and forth, and I'm trying to eat popcorn and watch the movie. I think the F1 movie would have been amazing. I actually enjoyed it. The only thing I didn't enjoy was the jerking around. So I thought it was a good movie, though. You?
I'm going to tell you a funny story. I felt the same way. I mean, it's the same guys that do Top Gun and Days of Thunder, which I loved. Okay. It's not going to win any awards. I mean, I loved it. I thought it was great. Funny story. My wife and I went and saw years ago Captain Marvel in one of those theaters, and I freaking hated it. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? And then I saw the movie online. I was like, well, this is a great movie. But my wife was like, yeah, you just hated the fact that you were getting air blown on you and then water sprinkled on me. I was like, this is ridiculous.
I found myself saying, oh, no, don't go do another race, because I just knew that would be I mean, it wasn't just light, just moving. You're jerking back and forth through gears. I mean, I could have done without that, but I thought it was a good movie. So
yeah, I feel you. I
thought Brad Pitt,
Oh, he's great.
So I'm glad it wasn't Tom Cruise in it. So I'll just say that. So
I feel you.
I think this is setting up another Days of Thunder, though. I'll throw that out there. So.
Well, I saw something online yesterday where they're like, so the end of F1 at the Baja, it's like, next movie. I'm like, I'm in. Sign me up.
Yeah, I think every movie now is leaving the door wide open to others. But hey, You know what? I've not been to a movie theater in forever, and I just decided to go on Thursday.
Cool.
Called up some AA buddies in Nashville and thinking that they would say no, but so we jumped in. I did not know about the seats. I'll just say that. But anyway, So you F1, 2 thumbs up. It sounds like.
All in.
I mean, I don't go into movies, expecting huge things, but it kept me very entertained. I'll say that.
Cool.
So,
all right.
Alrighty. So let's get into the questions. So Kevin, wondering, I'm paraphrasing. Listen, I love the long emails, but at the same time, like, I'm not a good paraphraser. But so they may or may not be an excuse, but my son seems to suffer with anxiety, trauma, trust issues, and has always believed that going to inpatient treatment, aka groups, kind of. So she's asking, why is it a good idea, or why do we send people with trauma and trust issues into big groups of strangers and expect them to open up? I guess is her question.
Oh, that's a great question. Like, why do you do group therapy with people that are struggling with anxiety and social anxiety and all that sort of thing? That's a great question. Here's sort of the quickie answer, because they're proven to be effective. And here's why. And this is where you kind of got to remember, you're putting them in basically an incubator, that has a giant safety net. And so I was just talking to a therapist here at Jaywalker yesterday about this. We want our clients to be slightly uncomfortable, because they're in a safe space where they can go to their therapist, their peers, the techs, their sponsor. They can engage with their support system and process through that, because that is literally the most effective way. We would rather do it that way than like in an IOP program where maybe they go to group, hate it for 3 hours, and go home and get drunk, or spin out or get high or whatever. So our goal is to help them through the uncomfortableness. Now, I want to be clear with you. If somebody's having a panic attack, we would never make them into that environment. I know that's the response that's going to come. And it's like, of course, if you want to go all the way over there, sure, of course, we would never do that, But remember, when we talk about group therapy, we're not talking about, going to 50 people. We're talking about, like, the one I was in yesterday had like 7 clients, and that's generally normal, or something smaller like that, and it also builds trust amongst the group so that they can eventually get to a space where they can talk to each other about stuff that is uncomfortable that will help them get better. Did I answer the question?
I think so. So, I mean, what you're saying is, though, group work, let's just call it group work, group therapy, is a portion of recovery, in your opinion. You can't do it on your own.
Well, I mean, yeah, if someone's struggling with a lot of mental health issues, which I completely understand, what we want to do is help them through individual therapy, through medication, through group therapy. We want to hit all the buttons. And it's okay if it makes them uncomfortable, because we have a safety net around them. And that safety net is designed to help them through being uncomfortable. So we tell our clients, and I tell the families of our clients, because when they call me and they're like, he says this is uncomfortable and he doesn't like it. I'm like, good, he should feel that way. This shouldn't be a spa. They should work. This should have to be stuff that they have to process through. So, that's normal. That's okay.
I had a counselor in my last treatment. Let's just knock on wood, but it says time plus pain equals change. So you got to get uncomfortable, I would say, or else if you're comfortable, you wouldn't change.
Pain is the touchstone of all spiritual progress. I read that somewhere.
So I'm just going to throw this out. I got this late last night, and I should not have opened my whatever DM because it got my head spinning. And so it's just really simple. So Kevin and Jay, I'm curious, with my daughter continually struggling, it just seems way easier to get a bag of fentanyl than to get a therapist who takes your insurance.
Say that again.
Yes, I read. She said, well, basically, she said it's easier to get a bag of fentanyl than to get a therapist who takes their insurance. Yeah.
Okay.
The mind bender.
Oh. So it's easier to give, is it, did you say his daughter?
Yeah.
A bag of fentanyl than to take
Not
them
give.
to treatment?
It's basically for the, I would assume, so she's probably struggling with, it sounds like a fentanyl. So they're trying to get her help, but what they're saying, I think, is she goes out and gets a bag of fentanyl, and here, meanwhile, they're struggling to find a therapist or resources that their insurance accepts. That's how I would. It's not giving a bag of fentanyl. The daughter, it sounds like, is going out and getting her own, but they're struggling with getting. It sounds like insurance. I mean, maybe it's Spanish. Anyway,
I think I understand a little bit better now.
I thought it was interesting. There was no really any explanation, just really the one zinger. So I guess they wasn't question.
So here's the thing, and I'll be totally blunt. I understand that using insurance and trying to find services through insurance can be a challenge and a pain in the butt. And I would also say to whoever emailed you this, email Jay and I where you live and where you're looking for services and what kind of insurance you have, and we will probably within 15 minutes answer you back with places that we recommend that take your insurance. I also want to be super clear, and this is going to be a super short answer. It is never a good idea to give an addict or an alcoholic drugs or alcohol because it's easier than getting them to therapy or treatment. Never. Next question. I'm sorry. That is you are participating in their suicide.
It's a mind bender.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Jeez. So, yeah, I would assume that this is from a brother, but sounds mid-20s. If just got out of college, so I mean above college age. So asked, what if I don't want them back in my life, even if they get sober, which I doubt they will? But what if I just don't want them back in my life? Am I a bad brother? No,
you are not. And because I completely understand why. And because I've certainly had people say, I never want to talk to you again. And when it came time to me making amends to them, I would send them like a note. Well, this is back in the 90s when we had to dial a phone and leave and I left 3. There was this one girl that I left 3 messages on her answering machine.
Did you page her?
No, I didn't have her pager. And I went back to my sponsor and I was super proud. So on this one, I've left 3 messages. He's like, stop. You leave 1 message with your phone number. And he's like, was it her name and voice? I'm like, oh yeah. He's like, stop. She doesn't want to talk to you. And I had some other people. I mean, I'll be totally blunt. I had some other people that were like, that's great. Stay away from me. And I was like, okay. So now, if the one thing I would say is if somebody contacts you and wants to make amends, I would say, if you don't want to talk to them or see them, say, okay, send me a letter. Because there were some people where my sponsor was like, I think you need to send them a letter. After I tried, and because we don't make amends at the expense of the other person, we make amends when it's received and accepted. And so I understand, look, I get it. There are people, I've had clients and I've had friends where they're like, my dad abused me physically and sexually. I don't care if he's sober. I never want to talk to him again. I'm like, and you have every right to that. I will support you to the day I die. That's absolutely true. This is totally up to you. you know. I think it's also something that the individual that's saying stay away from me, I would just encourage them to also kind of do some of their own internal therapy. I'm not saying to change their mind. I get it that there are some people that you never want around. I mean, they're abusive, etc. I get it, 100% with you, 1,000%. But if you have that kind of trauma, I would encourage you to do some trauma work, not with the intention of allowing this person back in your life, because I want your life to be better. That's all. So that's the end of that conversation. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, without knowing everything, I mean, I 100,000% agree with you. Like it's if you don't want to see them or be back in their lives, that's fine. But I can tell you that for my life, and I've seen it countless other times, I mean, people get into long-term recovery and like deal with their behaviors and their actions and not their words. If they're showing up different, you may be pleasantly surprised. You may allow him back. I'll just say that. But it's like Kevin was saying, completely up to you. If you don't, sounds like he's been burned a few times. But anyway, so another mind bender that we got was so it sounds like my son identifies as being broken and always will be broken. It's almost as if he's addicted to the identity of being broken. Is there any way that he could actually get addicted to a recovered lifestyle?
Yeah, it's a funny way of putting it. And I would actually.
I mean, I never thought about it like that. So,
well, I've had people say that to me. They're like, "Well, now you're addicted to going to meetings and hanging out with people in the 12-step world." I'm like, "Yeah, okay. I don't disagree. You're right. You're absolutely right. And you know why? Because I don't want to be dead. So, I'm okay with that addiction. I'm okay with changing my ways and changing my lifestyle and participating in an environment that is, helps me become a better human being and get sober, go back to school, get a job, treat people better, consequently become part of my family again, meet some nice people, marry someone, or find a relationship. Those things all happened because I am addicted to a sober lifestyle. I readily agree. I mean, you and I may have that. We talk about the joke, right? I think you told it to me. Is when one of your clients said, I sent my daughter to treatment, and she's like, "It's a cult." And the mom said, "Well, do they have jobs? Are they sober? Join the cult." And I stole that one so long. I use that line all the time. And so I've definitely had people say that. Oh, I know people that they go to AA every day, and it's just because it's like they're the most important thing in their life. I'm like, yeah, and they're not dead. So, that's where I come from. Now, I mean, I would say over time it kind of spins down a little bit. Like I used to go every day, sometimes twice a day. Now I go three times a week. But I talk to people every day. So I'm okay with that. But I would say early on, hell yeah, you should go every day, and make it part of your world. This is the whole idea, man. So, yep. Good, great questions today.
So
wow.
This is actually from a therapist. And so I should be, she said, Jay, keep up the humor, but this question is for Kevin. And I'm much more than just a face on this show. You know that, but I understand. But sometimes you just got to know your role. In your clinical opinion, I guess that eliminates me. I've had clients in the past, and I don't want to say every client or everyone, but why do so many people in recovery end up replacing one addiction with another, i.e. CrossFit, Tinder, and she goes on and on.
Yeah. God, these are some good questions.
So I'm just going to I'm just here for the humor. But no, anyway, I think it's a great question.
It's an incredible question, and I want to tell you that the reason it's a great question. And this is a therapist, and so here's my response to the therapist. You need to read a book called Dopamine Nation. It's written by Dr. Anna Lemke from Stanford University, and she does a phenomenal job of explaining the addicted brain and how it works and why. And that the okay, so this is where the science part comes in, and Kevin turns into I don't get it, but the neural pathways of the addict and the alcoholic are different than the normal person. So when they take away the drugs and the alcohol that are providing the serotonin and the dopamine in an artificial sense, completely, they're going to end up replacing that with something else. And it's going to be, exercise. It's going to be, like some of my friends are, jump out of airplanes, and do, that kind of, they're going to look for that stuff because that's how their brain and their body is built. And that's okay as long as it's healthy. And the other thing that the 12-step lifestyle teaches, and then you as a therapist can reinforce, is learning moderation, right? Because so therapist person, by the way, therapist person, you should read my book, Families in Addiction. It explains this. There are 3 parts of addiction as far as the 12-step people are concerned: physical, mental, and spiritual. So the physical, we call it a physical allergy, right? Well, so when we take away the drugs and the alcohol, our bodies are going to be like, hey, I still need to find that dopamine and that serotonin. And we want to find them a healthy, safe way to find that. Nutrition, exercise, meditation, yoga, therapy, those are all super positives, totally down for all that. But you're going to have to replace that to a certain degree. And the mental side of it that's the part you can really dig into, because yes, do I know people in recovery that are like, obsessed and doing 100-milers and, all sorts of, goofiness like that? Sure. And, that's cool. But, they also have to maintain a job and go to school, pay attention to their family. They have to learn moderation. And a lot of times, that can be done in the 12-step environment, and it can be super reinforced in the therapy environment and the psychiatry environment of teaching people that you don't have to get, so spun up and go after it. You can actually, kind of goes back to the first question, right? About, we would rather have them be uncomfortable in an environment where they're safe. Well, now they're with you. So, teach them how to learn how to be, that it's okay to be somewhat uncomfortable, that you don't have to be going 24/7, and that you can show them how to properly channel that energy and the need for the dopamine and the serotonin. But read Dopamine Nation and read my book, Families in Addiction, and I think that'll really help.
Dating apps, I know for young guys too. I mean, the dating apps is in itself. She mentions Tinder, but I mean, it's not like any dating app. I mean, it's real. I can tell you that.
Well, Dr. Lemke covers that in Dopamine Nation. So yes, I agree 1,000%. I mean, that stuff, the dating apps, the sex, the porn, I mean, the social media, the gaming. I mean, again, now we're tripping all the dopamine, serotonin stuff. And so we have to learn how to bring that to a space where it's okay to pursue those things, but you have to learn how to do them in moderation. So, yeah. Wow, these are good questions today.
Wow. Well, Kevin, I think you did your job. Great questions, I think, and some mind benders. And so I learned that I'm not going to open up my DMs and late at night, because then it just interferes with my sleep, because I just want to analyze everything. So keep them coming, and we'll do this each and every week, and then we'll probably put some clips out there. But again, if you're watching a replay, you can always put it in the questions. You can DM us. You can do whatever it is. And for those people, like if you need resources, Kevin touched on a very that I think that we kind of speed right over. If you are in need of resources, reach out to one of us, both of us, either one of we can give you some viable resources, and it's no charge to anyone. So,
Yep.
All righty, Kevin, you get back to work. I'm going to go back to the beach.
Oh, you had to rub it in. Good for you, brother. Good for you. Good to see you. Happy 4th of July. Happy birthday, America. And I hope you're having a great day, buddy.
Yeah, don't burn a finger or anything like that. Let other people light up the fireworks.
It's a rite of passage. Come on.